Hello and welcome to a CBK gaming video. Join us as we discuss and review Gloom of Kilforth, a 1 to 4 player competitive or cooperative adventure game set in the brutal and dark land of Kilforth, where mystery, quests and horrible malcontents stalk your every move as you try to defeat the gloom, the evil that has arisen, all by the team at HallorNothing Productions. So, what do you get with Gloom of Kilforth? Well, we've got the Kickstarter variant with all the add-ons, so Pimp My Gloom and the other encounter decks and Dark Gloom, which adds some unique artwork. All in all, you get a lot of cards. If you're looking to buy this in the UK currently, you can get it from between the base game, from between £45 and £55. You can probably find the Pimp My Gloom and other bits and pieces as well. We'll put a link to some of the locations you can purchase it below. But overall, you get a staggering amount of content.
Yeah.
Personally, really impressed with the fact that we've got wooden tokens. I really like that a company has gone for that approach. The card tokens, you get loads of these card tokens that represent what you can choose to find along the way, including traps or nothing gold, perhaps the odd potion to heal yourself along the way. The dice, you get plenty of dice. It is a dice throwing game. You will need to be throwing a lot of dice. So it's nice to see that we have a selection. I've got to give it an 8 out of 10 for the amount of content that you actually get and the price point that you can find it at in the UK.
Easily an 8 out of 10. I mean, we have as you're moving round sort of the map, you have the location cards of whether you're in a mountainous region or on the plains, and we haven't got to the end of those decks yet.
No.
I think with 4 players, it might be possible to start running out, but then you're on a timer as well, so I don't think you're going to find yourself short of anything.
The only cards you will run out of are the night cards, and that's by design.
Yeah.
As soon as those cards run out, that's
Game
it.
over.
The content ones, we do have to add that what you're seeing in front of us here, the larger tarot style card size cards are from the Pimp My Gloom. Highly recommend, if you can get hold of them, get hold of them. It really does make a difference to me having those larger cards on the table.
So quality.
Well, the reason I backed this game on Kickstarter originally was the artwork. Tristan and Francesca and the team there, they've got an outstanding artist or group of artists. All of their games have fantastic artwork. I highly recommend that you take a look at their catalogue. The artwork, the separation and the choice to actually incorporate darker themes and the darker cards as well that you can buy, which are perhaps a little bit more provocative, a little bit more risque. I don't think they're any different to a lot of games that you get out there, but the fact they've chosen to separate them so you have the choice of those cards, really respect that decision, and the fact that it offers a whole load more artwork. Again, really good.
I know we've said about artwork in a lot of the videos previously with other games, and it is something that draws us to a game, but I haven't been drawn to the extent that I actually want these printed up and on the walls. They are outstandingly beautiful with some of the landscapes that you see, and I really, these shouldn't just be cards in the game. They should be pieces of art on the wall.
Tristan, you heard it here. If you get to do any prints of these, I think they'd sell like hotcakes. They really are exceptional. highly recommend that some of that artwork is sold as posters. We'd quite happily put some on the wall behind us.
Definitely.
It would fit
Yeah.
really well. So it's a 10 out of 10 for me. I absolutely think it's a superb quality. The cards are fantastic. The artwork is fantastic. Can't fault it in any way.
Yeah, the quality of the tokens are all good. It's there is no fault with this game on quality.
Unlike some games that we've had some wooden tokens and they're either different sizes or the colours are slightly off, not been very well done, they seem rushed or poor quality. These are absolutely they're uniform, they're really well done, they work fantastically. So yes, I have to say, certainly on the token side, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So looking at complexity and gameplay together, this is where I think this game falls down a little bit. And it is quite a complex game. Once you get into it, it's not. Yeah. It's actually very simple. But I don't think the rule book is as well done as it could be. It's a bit all over the place. I think there could be some improvements from that. And I think the first time, if you've picked this game up as your first game and you look at that rule book, you're going to get a bit lost, I think. However, Tristan and the guys do some YouTube videos that show you how to play, how to set it up, and they are fantastic. They're absolutely superb. They'll be linked below as well, so if you are looking to buy this game, you can see how it plays and the setup and everything you go through. So I like that. I like that people now are using YouTube to teach people how to play their game. I think the rulebook could have been better, but these cards are very well done. You get some cards that explain how to play. So all in all, complexity, I've got to give it a 5 out of 10. It's not a game that I would suggest is a gateway game for people. I would suggest that you have to fight your way through initially the rules before you actually get a grips, and I think that takes away from the immersion in the story at times. That's not to say it's not. Once you get through those rules, it tells a fantastic story, and a story that's different every single time. So within the gameplay element, that is absolutely fantastic. It's a game that tells a story. That's something that's really important to me. I like to play a game that I can see or visualize the way the story's unfolding. This certainly does that.
No, for me, sort of complexity-wise, I'd probably go for a 6. I did stumble the first game, and it took me a while to get into it. But the second game we played, I picked it up and was running, and there were a couple of little bits where
we made some mistakes,
and had to go back and check on something. But by the second game, I wasn't having to reference the rule book sort of every turn or every other turn, and from then on, it was quite easy to pick up. And yes, the story is lovely as it develops, and it's whether your character, you have choices almost as you're going through as to whether you start edging towards this skill or that skill, and then later on you find out whether that's a benefit to you or not. And I really enjoyed it. Yeah,
it's worth stating that your character that you choose and its class, they have skills that you can buy. You will never have all of those skills. You choose between 2 skills each level that you go up, and there's 4 levels. So there's already some difference there. Each class gives a little bit of extra difference and something different and unique that character can do. The way that it works is that you roll dice. On a 5 or a 6, you have a success, and you need a certain amount of successes built up before the end of that day to complete either a quest or some action at a location. Combat is until one person is dead, either the monster you are fighting or yourself. And sometimes they're very hard to defeat. You might want to join up, even in a competitive game. You may want to help one another overcome for whatever reason, a particular target.
I mean, there could be a villain that comes onto the game that affects sort of a whole area, and if you're playing competitively, that impacts you as well as the person that's trying to fight them, because later on, if they're not defeated, you've got to go and deal with them before you can fulfill your quest. So yeah, there are moments where you sort of, it's testing the character as well. Is the character completely selfish and no, I'm doing my quest, or I can see the bigger picture and I'll help.
I think the Gloom, the main villains of the piece, if you are playing competitively, there is a single villain. You have to complete your personal set of quests before you can fight the villain. If you're playing cooperatively, there are a number of villains equal to the number of players, and that can get quite interesting, quite dangerous. Personally, I prefer to play it cooperatively. I think solo, this game is very good as well. You're looking at between 45 minutes and an hour per turn per player, not per turn. So 4 players, you're looking at potentially up to 4 hours of gameplay. We have played this 3-player, and yes, it was one of the initial games. It took us about 3.5 to 4 hours, but the story was absolutely brilliant. Being able to sit and see, you can visualize what's going on. We played it competitively. I don't think anybody won on that. Well, one person had more points and or got further in their quest than everybody else, which made them the winner. Though. But the Gloom was not defeated. So yeah, it's the gameplay I do really enjoy. The complexity I can see being a barrier to some people to getting through that.
Yeah, it's not a pick up and run with it within a couple of minutes. It is a sit down, start playing it through, go back, reference a few bits, carry on the first game. But after you've done that first game, and it becomes clearer the more you play.
Yes.
So by the second game,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so fun factor.
I didn't. For me, it's a weird one. I'm normally a miniatures sort of person, and I prefer those games. And I was a bit hesitant going all with a card game because they're not something I usually play. But I found myself completely immersed in this. I'm really, really enjoying it, and the story came out more than I expected with the card game. Yeah, I'm going to go with a solid 7.
Okay.
Bordering on 8, but I'll go with a 7. But yeah, it certainly grabbed me, and I really did enjoy it, and both ways. Which normally
you enjoyed the competitive.
I enjoyed the competitive as well, because it's not the competitive style. It's almost the best that you can do without being sort of evil to the other person, without taking away your cards or hitting you down. That I prefer. Yeah, how the best that I can do. Can I score the most points compared to you? Is my style of competitiveness. But this, it's a race against the game as well, because the Gloom's coming across, and because you've got that option of competitiveness. I actually enjoyed the option of cooperative. I enjoyed the competitive side, because if I was starting to go, oh, I wish I was helping you, I've got that option. And
this game, to me, it's going to sound a little bit silly, but I don't see that there's any winner or loser. You're part of a story, and it's whether you're going to have that story take longer by having more gloom, or whether you're just going to face a single entity. The individual quests that you have can change quite dramatically, and that changes and adds different permutation to the cards. You've got your different classes, the different races, the locations are never in the same way. There's hundreds of items, hundreds of titles, spells, the
allies.
The allies. There are so many different permutations to these cards, I think it's always going to stay quite fresh, fun.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you can play it in those different ways, it's the first time I played it, I found that quite the barrier of the rules stopping the immersion in the story. But once I got through that, once we'd played it, learnt to play it properly, really enjoy the game. I don't really care about the miniatures. I like miniature games, but I'm not a massive fan of just having miniatures for miniature's sake. And I think there's a lot of that out there at the moment. Saying that, if HallorNothing produced some miniatures for this, there's only a handful of characters, that would be really good. I like the fact that you've got male and female on the flip sides. I think that works really, really well. So, fun factor for me is an 8 out of 10. I really do enjoy this, and I will choose to go to this game. Depending, I don't think I'd want to play this with 4 players if they didn't enjoy long story-driven games. People could lose interest. But we've got a number of friends who would thoroughly enjoy this sort of game. So, overall, how would you score this overall?
I'm going to go with a 7. Because, although, as you said, we did stumble with the rules and to begin with, but then even if I'm stumped on what I'm doing next, or I haven't decided where I need to go next to complete the quest, just sitting looking at the artwork, it makes it a good evening for me. And I did really enjoy it, and I can see so many variants in the future games as well. I'd quite happily get it down off the shelf again.
For me, this is an 8 out of 10. Because, yes, stumbled over the rules. There's a lot of games that you stumble over the rules. The artwork is absolutely superb. The gameplay is great fun. It tells a story. And for me, playing board games with my friends is about not just the interaction with your friends, but being a part of a story. And that's why I'm more driven and drawn to games that are narrative driven, Tainted Grail, folklore, and Gloom of Kilforth sits very well in that set of games. Shadows of Kilforth, I'm really looking forward to. We've just received it, and we're going to be playing that. We aim to play every game at least 5 times before we look to review it, if not more. We've played this certainly more just because we wanted to get through the rules and the nuances of the rules. Probably do the same with Shadows of Kilforth. But that is cooperative. To me, if you enjoy narrative-driven games, if you enjoy fantasy games, you want a game with some good artwork, and it doesn't take up too much space on the table, it's not a huge box, this deserves a place in your collection. It's not overly expensive. It's right at the right price point. If you can pick this up for £45, I think you've got an absolute steal.
Yeah.
So, thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. If you've enjoyed it, please consider liking and subscribing. It means a lot to us. Hopefully, you will see that the lighting has changed. We've waited to record some new videos because we decided to invest in some lighting to try and a number of people have said that it looks a bit dark, a bit dingy. So we've tried to make a difference. Please bear with us as we practice and get the lighting right. Any comments or any suggestions, please throw them in the comments box below. We'll include a link to where you can buy the card holders. A lot of interest has been made in that, and the chap has got his own. He's got an eBay page. He's separated it from his other business, so we'll link him here. And the next review will be a Wargaming Wednesday review, and it will be Night Fighter Ace by Compass Games. And I'll be doing that, although I expect Chris will be picking up the Wargaming Wednesdays on a monthly basis going forwards. Although I will probably do Interceptor Ace, as I recently purchased that, and that's yes. I won't keep my comments about that, but I do enjoy my Compass games. We're also going to be looking at a couple of other games, potentially the Gods expansion to Blood Rage, once we've played that a number of times. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.